charts last night. Overall market had a massive reaction to the CPI, so we're going to talk about that today. Massive welcome to everyone who's brand new to the channel, to everyone returning. Welcome back. Jump in, say hello so I know that you're here. Who have we got in the chat today? We've got Dan, Seeker of Moons. Nice to see you. Faith, Theo, Jessica, Brandon, Teddington. Lots of TTC tribe. I can see Ryan, Alicia. Awesome. Okay. Before I get into it, let's just have a quick look at what happened last night. A couple things to note. Well, obviously we can see we had some pretty big drops on the S&P and NASDAQ yesterday, down 5.6% at this point in time on the S&P, 6.8 on NASDAQ. The Dixie, obviously, just the volume that came in there was just crazy last night. What else have we got going on? Ethereum, 11.38% drop at this point. Bitcoin, 12.85. Now, before I get into my thoughts on the market and what I think may happen between today and the ETH merge, which I think is about 24 hours away, I have some really devastating news that I have to share with you guys. It's very unexpected, just completely shocked me, and it may mean that this is my last ever video on trading. So I'm just going to share that with you right now, and that is this. Guys, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. I had no idea that trading is a man's thing only. I don't know what to do. What should I do, guys? Should I give up? I'm clearly a girl. So awkward. I've been doing this for years and I thought I was allowed. Oops. Anyway, I could do that. I could give up, or I could just say to this guy, have fun staying poor, fuckhead. Let's move on. So, I had you earlier. Okay, let's move on. Let's get serious. I ain't giving this shit up for no one. So let's move on and let's talk about the actual... I was worried for a second. Sorry, guys. Never would I do that to you. Just having some fun. So let's talk about yesterday. Actually, no, let me talk about S&P first, because this one was like pretty bang on. I had shared this in the Discord. I actually forgot to share it on YouTube, so I apologize for that. But that is another reason to be in the Discord, because it does mean that I can update you guys, at a moment's notice. So this chart I had marked out previous to the news event, and I had posted this as an alert for the TTC tribe to look out for, that price was heading up here in an attempt to recover this vector right here. I marked out the 50% zone and the top of that candle, and we can see here on that spike up yesterday, right as the news came out. There's always a stop hunt before a drop, or a stop hunt before a rise. That's what we got. We got a stop hunt right to that 50% zone, and now we're almost at basically 100% recovery back to this area here. This area is marked from the 4-hour time frame, I believe. Let me just zoom out. As my area of interest currently on this, yes, it is. So I'm marking from this blue vector candle right here from the 19th of July, as we had attempted to come into it once before. There was a couple of attempts here. We got deeper into it here, but we've not yet fully closed this candle. So we'll move that down a bit. And as we can see, at this point in time, the drop has led us basically back to that area again. So this is definitely an area to watch for S&P. We may get a bit of a recovery back to a 50 or a 200 or any of these EMAs really. So we may get a bit of a bounce recovery. If we create a lower high there, then we would probably expect that on the next attempt, it's going to break down lower. So in general, you know, whether you're trading that or not, you still have to keep an eye on it, because it definitely, you know, if this breaks down further, we know that obviously when it's a big move, it definitely takes down crypto with it. So that was one. And then the other one was NASDAQ on, we'll just go to the 1 hour. We had very similar situation where we had this candle here that needed to be recovered, but there was also another little one here which I kind of missed, to be honest with you. I thought this one was the better target, but this one is still a valid one, this purple one right here. And so when we mark that out, you can see again that we wicked right. So we pretty much did a full recovery of this candle here before we broke down. And again, the area of interest is where it looks like we're coming back into now, marked from the 4 hour. Oh, I must have marked this from the daily, did I? Let me check. Yeah, I've marked this from the daily. Let me zoom in on that. I've marked this from this daily doji right here, this higher volume doji compared to what was happening before. Let me see if I can make that a bit of a better zone on the 4 hour. Not really, because we've really only got this one here. So I would say that is still the relevant zone at this point in time. Here we've touched into it once. Does look like we're going to come back into it very soon. We've been into it here before, and we had the railroad kind of deal out of it out here. If we break below this level, I do think it's likely that we will. Whether we retrace first and before we break down is yet to be seen. But if we retrace, there's an entry to short if you trade these markets. If we don't, there's nothing to do, because your risk reward is going to be terrible. However, regardless of whether we've got an entry or not on this, what I'm really looking for is to find where this settles, because it's going to help me understand where crypto might settle. So if this continues down into this area of interest, my next kind of area that I'm, to be honest, a little bit more keen on is this one here. So this green candle right here, whoops, don't know why I did that. This green candle here kind of has my interest a little bit more, because we've had a couple of attempts there, and we have not yet returned to it. So keep those two areas in mind. But yeah, that's how I'm feeling about that anyway. Then let's go to bigger charts for Bitcoin and Ethereum. We'll go to this one. Now, let's make Bitcoin a bit bigger. Now, the problem that we have is I feel like we're going to have some pretty gross price action, just simply because we had such a large reaction yesterday. Now, you know, a large reaction, it tends to really scare retail traders, and they tend to kind of just sit back and do nothing, or they panic sell, right? Bullish on Smash Avocado. I just read your comment. Sorry to see you go. Let the men do the trading. I didn't want to say it. Glad someone did. Lucky I know you well, and that I know you're joking. Anyway, I've lost my train of thought now, but what was I saying? Yes, when we have a dramatic move like this, obviously would have triggered panic selling already. Now there's going to be a lot of fear in the market. So I'm not sure that we're at the stage of buying the dip kind of mentality in retail. So I kind of feel like we might have a bit of a slow day. I can't imagine that we're going to have the most perfect recovery or the most perfect retracement for a perfect entry. Wait and see when Asia opens, but yeah, just keep that in mind. The thing is, we do have CPI at 4 p.m. That is in 5.5 hours from now. This is GBP CPI. And, you know, this was the reaction to the US. So will the UK CPI have a similar reaction or not? Usually no. However, we do know that there's, you know, a lot of problems going on in the UK at the moment, you know, with the energy crisis and whatnot. So it may be another big market mover today. And that actually may be the thing that gives us the next level drop. Speaking of which, where are we in the cycle now? Sorry. So we can see we had this peak formation. Before we talk about drops, let's talk about the peak formation, because it hit exactly on our sell zone. We had a sell zone up here in this red area between 22,700 to 23,000. 22,900 had the highest amount of sell orders as we came into the event last night. Also, I happened to notice before we had this push up that the open interest was skyrocketing, and I didn't update on my Twitter about that. This was well in advance of the news event, warning you guys, if you're long, take at least some profit and move your stops. So if you're not in the TTC Discord with us, at least follow me on Twitter so that you can get those updates. But point being that this was the ideal zone, and I want to talk about the possible ways that you could have got that entry. Number one is, like, would you consider this here to be a final damage M formation? Some may have considered that it was, and you wouldn't necessarily be wrong. But the problem with that, if it was a final damage M formation, is that there was no entry for you, because the entry is on the second peak and there was no candlestick confirmation. So this candle here was not giving you a hint of a breakdown. See how the wick to the bottom of it is larger than the wick at the top? So therefore, that actually at the time would have looked bare. It's very easy to look in hindsight and say, oh, that was a final damage M. But in reality, if you were trading this candle right here, you wouldn't have opened a short, because it would have looked more bullish than bearish. And then when you got the next candle that broke down, well, you're too late. By the time that candle closed, it's a terrible risk to reward. So I don't feel, even though this fits a final damage M, it wasn't one where you could actually get an entry. In my opinion, this was a 900 trade instead. That's the trade I took. That's the trade a lot of people in TTC took. A final damage, a 900 trade is a specific trade setup of mine. I don't really like to share it publicly just because it's a very, very high risk strategy and you need to know it in full detail. Moral of the story is the entry is taken off, trading light heat map orders once all conditions are met. Oh, wow. Look how empty that is above the current price. We'll get to that in a second. So yes, in my opinion, not a final damage M. It was a 900 trade entry if you were willing to take it. From there, obviously this is drop one. It's very easy to see. Looking at the volume here, even though we didn't have a big move, there's a potential for this to be drop two, because it is 1, 2, 3 hits to the downside. So that's one. Potentially that's drop two. And then now we have a stopping volume candle here, and in 2 minutes time we may have another one here. However, does this mean that it's reversal from here? In my opinion, no. I wouldn't not be looking for longs from here, even though I see a W here. If I'm trading the strategy strictly, which is what I do, I would only look for W's where they're meant to hang out, and they don't hang out at potential level 2 drop. So for me, I would not be looking for longs today. What I think may happen is we may get if we're lucky, we may get a bit of a retracement into any of these EMAs. Let's just point out the middle somewhere. If we were to get a retracement into these EMAs, it's going to recover this and also recover this imbalance here. It's going to fill that out, and actually that would really go really well if we landed between those two EMAs right to this peak right here. Then potentially we get a level 3 drop. So let's just put this as a target when the GBP CPI comes out later today. So yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, that's kind of the trade setup that I would look for to long. If we didn't drop any further, I'll talk about targets in a second, but if we didn't drop any further, I would not long this unless we broke and retested the 50 EMA now at this point. So because it's in the wrong point in the cycle. So, and any long move, in my opinion, is probably going to be a fake move up, just to take, some of that liquidity above price now, before potentially moving further down. The other thing too is this this trend line here that you can see, I talked about this on yesterday's stream on the daily, how it was that retail trend line. And remember how I said to you guys that we hit the trend line here, we hit it here. What I look for in a channel is for it to reach the top side, then change the market structure if I'm to believe it's going to break out to the upside. Let's have a look at this on the 4 hour currently, with keeping that in mind. As dramatic as last night's move did look, when we look higher time frame, now the move isn't over yet. We know that there is a W there currently. And if we zoom into this area right here, we can see that we have this candle yet to be recovered. This one has been recovered on the 4 hour time frame. And if they don't actually bring price down to recover this whole candle, or even if they did, even if they recovered the entire candle, so that's down to 19,280, it would still be a higher low on the 4 hour time frame. Now, ideally, when I look for that higher low in the channel, I want it in the channel. So the only problem would be if we came down here, we're not in the channel, we've broken back below it. So at this point in time, price is literally sitting right on it. So if this is the only candle, this one up here, that it wants to recover, it's done that job already. And if it moved out and up from here, that would pass to me as a higher low, where I would expect that we're probably going to break this channel to the upside over the next, few weeks. If, however, we break below and we come to recover this one, then that channel theory is kind of over and done with. So I'm not bullish or bearish. I'm not saying I think that, even though we've had a drop, I think we're still bullish. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying what it would take for me to think that we may actually break this trend line from 67K. So that's that. Now, let me just go back to the 15-minute. Sorry to flip-flop around. The other thing too is, let's talk about targets. If we were lucky enough to get a bit of a retracement, I'm going to bring this down to a recovery of this candle, and actually let me mark it out so that I'm very clear. This is the one here that I would want to see a recovery between 20.5 to 20.7. Actually, that makes sense because Bitcoin tends to gravitate towards that 20.5 number a lot. So that kind of makes sense that we may do a little slow creep up there that may lead into this next event. Now, let's talk about the targets, these previous area of interest, and see if they are still relevant. So this one is marking this candle here that we haven't yet come into. So yeah, if we get that, if we were to get this break up here, recover those 15-minute vectors, and then come back down somewhere into this zone, it's a wide zone, but it's between 19.37 to 19.9. Let's just say I would like to see it go to the lower end of that candle, because it's going to refill this imbalance right here. So around 19.5-ish. If we bounce there, I'd say we're still going to be okay for higher time frame upside. But if we break there, watch out. We're probably getting that weekly level 3 potentially. So that's that. Now let's see if any of that lines up with what we've got going on in the heat maps. So currently we've got price here at 1.5 at 19,800. So 19,800, if we mark that out here, 19,800. This may change as we head into Asia, but yeah, okay, so 19,800 is going to will come into that candle if we do hit there. Then let's have a look at high block. Just mind your eyes for a second. So very interesting yesterday how we had like $21 billion worth of longs, and in that one move down, we literally wiped it all out, and now we have more shorts than we have longs, and we're sitting at a delta of 12 billion, meaning they don't really have to drive price too much further down in order to increase that. To be honest with you, it can, if they increase this to 20 billion with another drop, it can give us that higher low on the higher low on the 4 hour time frame, because this is what they have. If they want to bring price down further, this here is what they would be targeting. The lowest level there is 18.9 currently, just because these circles are so large, and the highest is 19.5. So yeah, definitely around that 19.5 is a very good target in my opinion if we do get a further drop because of the CPI a bit later today. So definitely keep that in mind. What have we got above price if they want to do a bit of a recovery? We've got here at 19, let's just say 20K, 20.2, and then 20.6. Yep. So we will take out everyone who shorted literally way too late if we did exactly this play right here and had just that retracement to here. We'll take out everyone who shorted too late, and then we could have our further drop to somewhere between 19.8 to, let's just say, 19.4-ish. So yeah, that's how I feel about that. Let's have a look at Ethereum now that we have all of that idea in mind. Ethereum is just continuing to do a slow bleed down. The actual difference between the two, by the way, is when we zoom out, what was it? Bitcoin, so Bitcoin is currently sitting on yesterday's low of the day, that yellow line there. So it's wicked into it. It's bounced off it here. This candle's probably going to come back below it, but it's sitting there currently. Whereas ETH has already broken yesterday's low of the day. So I do think that ETH at this point in the market, it does lead the direction. And also, as far as crypto, that is. And also these red lines here are last week's low of the week. So, you know, I don't know if we're going to come down that far. It really does depend on how dramatic the CPI is to, later on today. But just keep that in mind, that if we do break through these targets here, the low of the week on both of these are going to be the next target, that being around 1480 for Ethereum and then 18,500 for Bitcoin. So that's pretty much it. And with Ethereum, same theory. Unless we get a retracement back to either the 50 EMA up here, still probably, it'd be decent. If we got a retracement up to the 50 EMA, which was also a retest of the initial high of the day, then there could be a trade down to the low of the week, that 1480 area. But without a retracement, there's no trade. You have to sit on your hands and wait now. The other thing too is that if we do get this as a final move down from this news event today, I do think we're going to have a fake merge pump. I have to be honest, as bad as things look now, what do we got left? We've got 1 day almost exactly. You know what? Let's what's the time now? 10:30. I'm going to do tomorrow's stream a little bit later, and we're going to watch this live together. We'll watch this merge live together and see how price changes. By the way, if you are enjoying this video, please smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And also, I'll just throw this in here while I'm saying all that. If you are looking for an exchange to trade on, OKX is my preferred exchange. There is a link in the description of this video. It will get you 15% discount on fees. One of the highest discounts you can get, and there are also sign-up bonuses. But what I might do tomorrow is run our stream just a little bit later, and so that we can trade this live, not trade it, we can watch it live together, not financial advice. But yeah, we'll share our thoughts with you. Smash the like button and leave me a comment if you would like to actually do that. So point being that I believe we will have a fake pump, whether it's into the merge or right after it if it's successful. That part remains to be seen, but I do think we will have a 1 day pump, and I don't really at this point think it will be long-lived. So that's how I feel about that. And that is pretty much all I had to share with you for today. Let me just have a quick think about this. UK needs good news for the moment. I hope it will be good news. I Pray for UK that it will be good news. Merge is going to be hectic. It will, yeah. Let's watch that together. I am in BT short. What is a recommended stop loss? Well, it depends where your entry was. I'm not sure. But your stop loss should be where it needs to be, above previous structure. What are the chances of BTC decoupling if inflation doesn't bottom this year? Good question. At some point, the only way that would happen is if more people that aren't currently believers become believers. The only way we can decouple is if more people come in now, because our market cap is so low. The people that are loyal to crypto and are in it for life, we're the only ones left. So something has to happen that is going to make more people want to come here. And the rising inflation, that could be the reason, but it's only going to happen with education. So that's up to us. That's up to us crypto believers to really spread the word about crypto in a positive way. Who said trading Samantha? Oh, did I keep that up the entire time? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Did you guys miss everything? Oh, shit. I'm so sorry. Maybe I shouldn't be trading. You guys are so loyal to have just sat through that whole thing and not screamed at me. Oh my God. Do I have to start again? No, just relax. You guys are too funny. Oh, I hope you caught all of that regardless. Oh, no, just a minute of it. Oh, thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. I'm so sorry, guys. Definitely too early in the morning for me. On that note, I have this thing that happens every morning. Every night before I go to bed, I grab a glass of water and I keep it by my bed in case I have a coughing fit in the middle of the night. And every morning, well before I am ready to wake up, my cat knocks that water off the table so that she can be fed. So if anybody is looking for a cat, I will do you a good deal. But that is my explanation as to why I just messed that up right there. Oh, okay, I'm so glad it was just the last minute. I would have felt like such an idiot. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you there. Yeah, we'll make this an event tomorrow, a little bit later stream. Let's watch the events unfold of this. Love you guys. Have the most amazing day. Be safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.